Hello folks, we are at the Majoda beach in Goa. If there's going to be one of the most complicated transits of the last decade, if not more, then it is going to be the transit of Rahu into the sign of Aquarius. While the dispositor of Aquarius or the ruler of Aquarius, Saturn, is in the Pisces sign. However, Rahu is under the aspect of Jupiter from the sign of Gemini, and both of them also aspect the sign of Libra, the sign of relationship. Hello, namaskar and adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. It is this time of the year that I'm bringing to you the most important transit, the most impactful transit, the transit of Rahu into the sign of Aquarius, ruled by Saturn. We have already done the transit of Saturn into the sign of Pisces from different angles, different perspectives. We have also done the transit of Jupiter into the sign of Gemini from different perspectives. So today it is the time of doing the transit of Rahu first, and then we will do the sign of Leo, in which Ketu transits later following this video, and we will also look at these transits from different perspectives. So without wasting too much time, let's jump in and see and try and understand what will be the effects of Rahu getting into the sign of Aquarius, one of the most tough, impactful, complicated transits of this decade, if not more. With Rahu about to transit in the sign of Aquarius and Ketu about to transit into the sign of Leo, it is important that we cover this transit from both Rahu and Ketu. So today we will first cover the transit of Rahu into the sign of Aquarius for all the zodiac rising signs, and then in another video we will cover the transit of Ketu into the sign of Leo. Now let's start with Rahu transiting into the sign of Aquarius for Aries rising sign people, where Rahu will be transiting into your 11th house. Now for those people who have an Aries rising sign, for these people Rahu is getting into the sign of Aquarius for Aries rising sign people. So Rahu getting into the sign of Aquarius and transit, while the ruler of Aquarius, Saturn, is in the 12th house in Pisces. So this gives a very high optimism to the effects of Rahu getting into Aquarius, because the Aquarius ruler, Saturn, is gone into the sign of Pisces, the sign of optimism, the sign of being very motivated, and into the 12th house, which is also a sign of, or the house of, the netherworld, or 1 foot in this world and 1 foot towards salvation. So this is going to be a transit which equates or creates high ambition, high motivation as well, but also high hunger and greed. At the same time, Rahu going into the sign of Aquarius means the person's need for acknowledgement, even public acknowledgement, mass acknowledgement, will be very high. At the same time, Rahu getting into Aquarius means this is an opportunity for high expansion in your network circle, but it could also lead to high disappointment in the network circle if you're not careful. Rahu will give you an opportunity of meeting new people, getting into new ties, making new acquaintances, making even new partnerships as well. However, at the same time, Saturn going into the sign of Pisces while Rahu is in Aquarius means that you may be over ambitious and overzealous in trying to make those connections, because of which you may throw caution to the winds and end up in a relationship which the relationship will become a big time test for you. One of the relationship will surely test you, even frustrate you, or even mislead you, and for some very few people even cheat you. So be very, very careful. Don't be over optimistic in trying to get your network circle or make new people or make new acquaintances or profit from new acquaintances, because Rahu is giving you high ambition and high greed, high motivation. The saving grace is Jupiter in the sign of Gemini and mutually aspecting Rahu with its 9th aspect. So Jupiter is giving high gains, surely, but a misled Rahu may not be able to get the best out of it unless you don't throw caution to the winds and you are more wise. At the same time, Rahu is also aspecting Jupiter with his 5th aspect, which is also a aspect of education or higher learning. So Rahu is telling Jupiter what it has learned. It has learned the ways that being tactful, being diplomatic, even manipulating is better, even in your communication, even in your effort to be able to make those high gains. Now, both Rahu and Jupiter are going to mutually aspect Libra sign as well. Rahu wants to get more out of its relationship, more out of its partnerships, more out of its connections, more out of its acquaintances, especially mass network circle acquaintances also. However, Jupiter is creating a balance between how much of a greed and ambition Rahu is trying to extract out of relationship, while Jupiter is trying to temper it with wisdom. So now, based on how Rahu and Jupiter are placed in your natal chart, this may turn out to be the deciding factor, the decision-making factor. On top of it, if you see, not only has Saturn gone into the sign of Pisces, but at the same time, while Rahu is in Aquarius, but at the same time, Jupiter rules the sign of Sagittarius, the 9th house of gains. And Jupiter is under the aspect of Rahu, which is having high ambition. So Rahu's aspect on Jupiter will expand your communication to be ultra creative, innovative, bordering on even alternate facts or even lying or using disappropriate facts. On the other hand, Rahu's aspect on Libra will create the need to pay back or have reciprocated attention from others, from those people who are your network circle, also to profit from relations and connections. Rahu will be itching for things to happen and will want to make things happen, but at the same time, one needs to ensure that high risks are not taken, because this transit is fraught with high risks, fraught with danger. And depending on where Mars is placed, if Mars is having any association with either Jupiter or Saturn or Rahu in your natal chart, then take it for granted that this is going to be a very, very high octane transit of Rahu in the sign of Aquarius. Rahu will make you push the limits of finances, of relations, of career, and wanting acknowledgement as well. And Rahu will make one border on the eccentric, doing crazy things, doing crazy developments also. In fact, to such an extent that it may devour you into or devour everything in its wake, as of wanting it yesterday. So for all those people who have Rahu in the sign of Aquarius, which is a return placement for you, then it will be even more telling. So overall, on the Rahu's transit in the sign of Aquarius for Aries rising sign people, it may be a focus on communication, on marketing, on your ability to be able to showcase yourself to the world, creating a network circle with high ambition, doing mass effect. Whatever you will do, you'll be able to do more for the masses. So be very careful what kind of role you get into, what kind of an opportunity you get, because opportunities may be many. There may be opportunity which may take you to the top, but there may be an opportunity which is so misleading that you get stuck up, you stagnate, and you're not able to move forward. The other thing that may also happen is that the greed will be such that even a good opportunity which may not seem to be so good on the surface may come and you may let it go. So be very careful for all those people who are Aries rising sign people, because on one hand high gains are promised, but also high risk can be seen. Now let's cover the transit of Rahu into the sign of Aquarius for Taurus rising sign people, where Rahu would be transiting into your 10th house. Now, for all those people who are having the Taurus rising sign, for you, Rahu transiting into the sign of Aquarius, while Saturn, the ruler of Aquarius, is in the Pisces sign in the 11th house. So the 11-11 connection is strongly getting activated here. On the other hand, this is one of the most complicated transits because Rahu is in the sign of Aquarius, while Aquarius ruler Saturn is in the sign of Pisces, while the ruler of Pisces, the dispositor of Pisces, Jupiter, is on the mutual aspect of Rahu, and both of them are also aspecting the sign of relationships, Libra. That's why this is a very, very complicated transit. This is not an easy transit to comprehend and also to be able to handle. This will be a tough transit. However, this is a transit of high opportunities. Rahu will create hunger and greed for where it is placed. So here in your career, Rahu may give you high hunger and greed to get ahead, to be promoted, to be acknowledged, to be recognized. So this high ambition will be the one which will be the focus of attention over the next 18 months. The need for acknowledgement will be so high that the need for public acknowledgement may be even higher. The opportunity for expansion in your career may also be high, but this may come by through your network circles. Sometimes you may want or you may reach out to a network circle or somebody who you know, wanting that person to help you out, or you may feel that somebody you know in your organization, even your senior, you may feel that that person may come to your aid, may come to your rescue, may and even help you through your acknowledgement to grow, but that may not come by, or your faith may be misplaced. So be careful of who you put your faith into, especially your senior authority figures. So don't over depend on them for growth. Don't expect them to be ones who will promise you growth or who will take you forward. So yeah, you will be mostly on your own. You'll have to play a very tactful game here. You'll have to play a very diplomatic game here, because this is a very, very complicated transit. So one relationship at least connected to your career, connected to your work, which may be a colleague, which may be a subordinate, may test you big time. It may even frustrate you or even mislead you into doing things connected to career, which may not be fruitful for you in the long run. You may even be cheated out of a growth, out of a promotion, out of a certain role that you are getting. So be very careful of who you trust, who you get into your own league, or who you depend on, or who you share secrets with. On the other hand, Jupiter's mutual aspect with Rahu, which means that Rahu will be expanding or increase the hunger and greed of Jupiter in the second house of higher remuneration, higher livelihood, higher saving, higher earning. So Rahu is pushing or wanting better growth, better saving, better increment, better livelihood. At the same time, Jupiter is tempering Rahu's over greed and ambition and asking you not to take risky decisions which will in fact mislead you into taking a decision which will affect your livelihood, which will affect your earning, which will affect your accumulated liquid money in the bank. And with Rahu and Jupiter both aspecting the 6th house, the sign of relations, Libra, in the 6th house, which means you will expect more out of your subordinates, you will expect more out of your colleagues. However, you may expect as much as you think they should be able to provide, but they may not be able to come forward with what you expect them or what you expect out of them. So sometimes they may let you down. Jupiter is asking you to temper how you look at relationships and not push too much, because there may be somebody who you push too much expecting them to be able to perform, but they may not be up to it. So Rahu's aspect on Libra will create a need for payback from your subordinates, for them to reciprocate what you have done for them, but this may not happen. Rahu will be itching for things to happen, and you may take high risks connected to your subordinates, connected to your career, connected to your earnings. So this is a complex and a tough transit that you need to handle with a lot of care. Rahu will make you push the limits of your career, where you go, what decisions you take, what new opportunities you take, whether you go for a better role or for money. or for career or acknowledgement in your career. So Rahu will be bordering on the eccentric, or also crazy decision making if you're not careful and if you don't allow Jupiter to have the upper hand. So now, based on how Jupiter and Rahu and Saturn are placed in your natal chart, they will all have a strong bearing on what overall results you get. But on the whole, for Taurus rising sign people, also depending on where Venus is placed, where the Venus is establishing any connection with Rahu, results will also accordingly come by, where either you may be getting the fillip to get on to much larger things, much bigger things, or be misled into taking a decision where you stagnate over the next 18 months.
Now let's cover Rahu transiting into the sign of Aquarius for a Gemini rising person, where Rahu would be transiting into the 9th house.
For those people who are born in the Gemini rising sign, Rahu will be transiting into the sign of Aquarius into the 9th house. Now, this is a very complicated transit, and this is a hard transit to handle because Rahu will be getting into the sign of Aquarius, while the ruler of Aquarius, Saturn, will be in the Pisces sign ruled by Jupiter, and the dispositor of Pisces, the ruler of Pisces, Jupiter, will be transiting or will be aspecting from the Gemini sign through its transit into Gemini into mutual aspect with Rahu. Not only will they be mutually aspecting with each other, but both of them will also be aspecting the 5th house in the sign of Libra, the sign of relationship. So this is going to be a very, very powerful transit, one of the most powerful, one of the most tough, but one of the most promising transit as well if you handle it well. So firstly, Rahu in the sign of Aquarius will give you very high greed, high hunger to be able to get out of your social connections, mass connections, connect and getting high gains from them. You will also be looking to use your experience and your learning and your qualification to get into a role where you make high gains, maybe needing to travel, maybe working in foreign lands, maybe working with MNCs, maybe working with foreign clients or foreign consultants. However, the opportunity will be very different and very varied from what you have done so far, especially with Saturn also getting into the Pisces sign into the 10th house. So the 9th and the 10th house bearing a strong connection. So your qualification, your high qualification, your high learning, your high experience will come to the fore, and you will have to utilize that for better gains. At the same time, Rahu aspecting Jupiter in the Lagna in Gemini means the communication will be of essence. And it will be the communication that you have, the creative communication that you have, the innovative communication that you have, that will give a fillip to your career, fillip to the gains. However, Rahu is over-expanding or wanting over-expansion in this Lagna through the communication skills. And sometimes you may push towards the boundary of being frustrated in your communication, not getting out of your ability to influence people and motivate people, or the ability to be able to gain out of people. At the same time, Jupiter's aspect at Rahu is asking you to temper it, because otherwise you may be frustrated in one of your relations, in one of your communications, and maybe even misled or maybe cheated out of the gains that should be coming to you, this Rahu being in the 9th house. Now, Rahu's aspect on Jupiter will also expand communication, which will add to the stature, to your standing in society, to the dignity that you have connected to the Lagna. This is very important transit for Gemini rising sign people, because Jupiter also rules 2 Kendra houses and Saturn will be placed in the sign of Pisces. So, a number of factors are getting activated, and Rahu is creating huge expansion, almost nuclear expansion on the Lagna and also on relationships. However, Rahu's aspect with his 9th aspect on the 5th house, which means romance connected to new connections, meeting new people, is going to be very high. However, you may move out of your league, either below or above your league, or pitch above your league, or try to strike above your league in terms of romance or liaison or getting into a new connection. That may get you into trouble, even embarrassment. Jupiter is trying to temper it and saying that please take a wise decision where it comes to connections, social connections. Why social? Because Rahu is in the sign of Aquarius, which is your social connections, and with the ninth aspect of gains on the fifth house of romance, especially romance, because it is on the sign of Libra, the sign of relationship. After that, it could also be that you may want to speculate into something which may, on the face of it, may come across, or you may think it will give you high gains, but it may not be. It may be fraught with high risk. Jupiter is asking you to temper it, and Jupiter is promising you gains but telling you to take wise decision connected to romance, connected to speculative investments. So overall, this is going to be not an easy transit to handle. It's going to be a tough transit to handle. Rahu's aspect on Libra will create the need for payback, for reciprocation of the attention that you're giving to people, and if you're not getting the attention back, there will be disappointment. Rahu is itching for things to happen, things to move with respect to romance, with respect to relations, with respect to change in career, because the fifth house is the eighth house to the 10th house. So Rahu will make you, push you to the limits of finances, of relations, of career, wanting acknowledgement from your seniors, and Rahu will be making you take decisions or bordering on the eccentric, the crazy, a devouring effect of everything in its path, and wanting results as of yesterday. So be very careful of how you use your communication, how you use your stature, how you use your standing in society, how you connect with superiors, how you use your ability to have creative communication to be able to push your career ahead, to get ahead when Rahu transits into the sign of Aquarius.
Now let's cover the transit of Rahu into the sign of Aquarius for a Cancer rising sign person, where Rahu would be transiting into your 8th house.
Now for those people who have the Cancer rising sign, when Rahu transits into the sign of Aquarius, Rahu will be transiting into the sign of Aquarius from the sign of Pisces into the 8th house. Now this is going to be a very, very telling, extremely important transit for Cancer rising sign people, because the sign of Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, co-ruled by Rahu also, and Saturn has gone into the sign of Pisces, into the 9th house. The 9th house in the Kalpurush Kundi is ruled by Jupiter, and Pisces is also ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is placed in the 12th house, which is the natural house of Jupiter through its rulership of Pisces in the Kalpurush Kundi, and Jupiter and Rahu are going to be in mutual aspect with each other. So Saturn, Rahu, Jupiter all are getting activated, and at the same time Rahu and Jupiter both are also going to aspect with the 5th and the 9th aspect the sign of Libra, the sign of relationships. So the sign of Libra is the 4th house. The 4th house is a very important house for Cancer rising sign people, because Cancer is the natural 4th house of the Kalpurush Kundi. So now you see so many equations, so many complications, so many things all coming together. Rahu getting into the 8th house. 8th house is the house of suddenness, sudden events, sudden opportunities, sudden happenings happening, sudden things happening out of the blue without even thinking about them. So sudden opportunities of travel, sudden opportunities of relationship, sudden opportunities of investment, sudden opportunities which will be so sudden that you may not be able to even identify the opportunity right. At the same time, sudden issues, problems, challenges, obstructions may also come your way, and it may come because of the over exuberance, over optimism that you may develop because of Saturn being in the sign of Pisces. And that's why this is going to be not an easy transit. It's a tough transit. Saturn is activated, Rahu is activated, and Rahu and Jupiter are under mutual aspect. Jupiter from the 12th house. 12th house is the house of losses, of expenses, and Rahu aspecting Jupiter. Jupiter tends to give you good results in the 12th house, but here under the aspect of Rahu, which means there is a tendency that you may take a decisions which may not be to your advantage, which may be a wasteful decision, which will waste your time, which may waste your effort, unless you're wise to the kind of decision that you're taking. On the other hand, Jupiter's aspect of Rahu in the 8th house, Jupiter is trying to temper the results, temper the the rush that Rahu can get you into challenges, into problems, into issues if you don't think. So Jupiter is telling you to hang on, don't rush into things, don't rush into obstructions, don't rush into problems and challenges. So Jupiter is asking you to take a wise call. At the same time, both Rahu and Jupiter aspecting the 4th house in the sign of Libra. 4th house is your house of assets, the money, your conveniences, your peace of mind, your happiness, your satisfaction, your domestic life. Rahu aspecting it with his 9th aspect. So Rahu is expecting gains out of the home, out of the investment, out of the assets, out of the conveniences, out of domestic life. So this person may push hard on the domestic life, on the relationships, on the people that you know at home, and wanting assets, wanting to grow assets. And because of Rahu being in the 8th house, either the challenges will be such that you may not be able to overcome them, or you may be misled into taking a decision with respect to assets, which may not be a wise decision. Thankfully, the saving grace is Jupiter's aspect. The 5th aspect of Jupiter is also in the sign of Libra, on the 4th house, which means in your relation, through your connections, Jupiter is asking you to be wise and take a wise counsel from people rather than rushing into challenges. Rahu may be misled by one relationship, one connection, which you may assume knows well or is a competent person or you can trust, but you may be misled into taking a decision with respect to assets or property which may not be good for you in the long run. So this is a really complicated transit. This is not an easy transit, especially for Cancer rising sign people, because Cancer sign has the energy of the 4th house, and both Rahu and Jupiter aspecting Libra in the 4th house. So one thing you need to be aware of this year or these 18 months is how to handle your relationships and how to handle your social connections, which is the sign Aquarius represents, and in the 8th house where Rahu is transiting. So in your social connection, there may be one connection which may mislead you, may even cheat you, which may frustrate you, which may bring you challenges, which may bring you problems. So you need to be very careful what new friends you make, what new acquaintances that you make, and be careful of what new connections you make and who you trust, because the 8th house effect will be very strong. The 12th house effect of waste and excess is also going to be very strong, and Saturn in the 9th house in Pisces sign gives you over optimism to rush into things. You think, yeah, everything is honky-dory, everything is good, I'm competent, this person knows very well, there's no risk. And that may be the fault line which may mislead you and take you into a tangent which will be difficult for you to recover, especially in investment, especially in career, especially in educational decisions, or going for a long distance travel or going for a long distance connection, which you may assume that this is good for you for your career, but may be fraught with danger. It may be fraught with high risk. So overall, for Cancer rising people, this 18 months, while Rahu is going to remain in Aquarius, will be a high risk, high gain placement also, but a very complicated one. This whole 18 months, every few days, every week to 10 days to 15 days or a month, new things will happen. There will never be a less exciting time. For good or for the bad, it will be a roller coaster ride. So being in the Cancer rising sign fraught with emotions, temper your emotions, take care, because the high opportunity of high gains are surely coming by for you. So it may flip you to very high gains, very high stature also, but at the same time, if you are not careful, the risk may also devour you or spoil the next 18 months that you will be getting into the most tough or the most trying period of your life. So be really careful. This is overall a good transit for high gains, explosive gains also, as long as you temper your emotion and keep calm.
Now let's cover the transit of Rahu into the sign of Aquarius for a Leo rising person, where Rahu would be transiting into your 7th house.
Now for those people who are born in the Leo rising sign people, now this is going to be a very important transit. One is Ketu is getting into your Lagna. into the first house. However, today we are not talking about Ketu's transit into the Leo sign. We will talk about it in the next video. Today we are talking about Rahu's transit into the sign of Aquarius for Leo rising sign people, and this is going to be very complicated, a very tough transit, because while Rahu is getting into the Aquarius sign, its ruler, its dispositor, Saturn is in the sign of Pisces already in the 8th house, and the dispositor of Saturn, the ruler of the Pisces sign, Jupiter, is transited into the 11th house of masses in the sign of Gemini, which is a dual sign, and under mutual aspect with Rahu. So Rahu is activated, Saturn is activated, Jupiter is activated and strongly impacting Rahu, and both Rahu and Jupiter are also aspecting the Libra sign in the 3rd house. So this is going to be a very tough, it is going to be a very complicated transit. It's not going to be an easy transit at all from Rahu's perspective. When Rahu in the sign of Aquarius but in the 7th house, which means relations, connections, partnerships, social connections, Rahu plays there, which means you're wanting more out of your relations, more out of your connection, more out of how you will be able to derive better results in your connection, in your partnerships as well at the same time. However, because Rahu is in the sign of Aquarius, you will want bigger gains, not small gains. Aquarius has nothing to do with small things, all big things, large things, masses. At a mass level, you want gains, you want big things. So if you're somebody who works in a team, you may want gains from everybody. You may want gains out of your team members, you may want gains out of your department, you may want gains out of the organization, you may want gains out of your leadership. Overall acknowledgement, overall recognition you may want, and if you think you're stagnated, you have not got enough, there is a high risk that you may take a decision to move out of the organization into a new role. So because you feel you will be able to get or profit from another role or another movement also. But be very careful with Rahu in the sign of Aquarius and Saturn going into the sign of Pisces, into the sign of high optimism. And Saturn rules Aquarius. So Saturn is giving you high optimism. Rahu may be misleading you into taking a decision which may not be the best for you. So through your high optimism, taking a decision, through a connection or through people who you know, getting into a role, getting into a new opportunity which may not be the best for you. So this is going to be a tough time for you to take tough decisions also. At the same time, Rahu going into the 7th house, which means through a social connection, you may get into a relationship which may be looking very good on the surface, but deep down the layers may not have come good or undone for you enough, or you can't cover them enough, because of which you may take a wrong decision. So you need to be very careful what kind of decision that you take when Rahu is in the sign of Aquarius in the 7th house. And the 7th house, the natural 7th house of the Kal Purush Kundli is Libra sign, which both Rahu and Jupiter are aspecting with their 5th and the 9th aspect. Rahu's 9th aspect is on the Libra sign, but in the 3rd house, which means one relation will surely make you put in a lot of effort, will surely test you a lot, to such an extent that sometimes you may not know what is the truth, whether the person is telling you the truth or you are seeing the true side of the person or not. You may be misled into a connection, into a relation, into an acquaintances, which may make you work very hard, and the relationship may be fraught with complications also. Now at the same time, Jupiter also aspecting Libra sign means that Jupiter is trying to temper the results in relationship. Jupiter is telling you, take wise decisions with new connections who you trust, especially in partnership, especially in teamwork, especially when you are wanting to work with people, because otherwise in relationship you may be misled, you may be taken for a ride, you may even be cheated. Now Rahu's aspect on the 11th house in Gemini sign. So Rahu in your connection may make you use alternate facts or hide facts or not give enough, wanting to gain out of that connection, the social connection. Jupiter at the same time aspecting Rahu is trying to temper you and say no, keep, hold your horses, won't push too hard, keep your relationship intact. Don't give alternate facts or don't give wrong facts. Don't try to squeeze more gains out of your social connections. These connections are important. Don't mislead. On this, you may think that you are being able to extract more out of people, but at the same time, other people may be doing to you without your knowledge. So this is going to be not an easy transit at all, my friends, especially for Leo rising sign people when Ketu is also going into the Lagna. So overall, Rahu's aspect on Jupiter will expand communication, and you may want to be ultra creative in your connection, in your relationship, in your acquaintances also. Rahu will be itching for things to happen in your connections, in your partnership to be able to gain. Rahu will make you push the limits of what you gain out of your connection, out of your partnership, in terms of money, in terms of your finances, in terms of your career as well. And Rahu will make you border on the eccentric, taking crazy decisions connected to partnerships, relationship, large organizations, multinational corporations also. So on the whole, depending on the dignity of Saturn, Rahu and Jupiter in your natal chart, results will come by accordingly. So overall, for Leo sign people, this is going to be a roller coaster ride surely for the 18 months. So be very, very careful, especially with related to connections, especially with related to decision making, especially with related to trusting the right people and knowing those are the right people.
Now let's cover the transit of Rahu into the sign of Aquarius for a Virgo rising sign person, where Rahu would be transiting into your 6th house.
Now for those people who are born in the Virgo rising sign, now for these people, Rahu will be transiting into the 6th house. The 6th house of issues, challenges, sicknesses, deaths, people acting behind your back, people hiding behind your back. Rahu getting there, which means being misled by those people who work below you. Especially if you are a leader and there are people working below you, you may be misled or you may trust the wrong people. So Rahu getting into the sign of Aquarius, but in the 6th house. Aquarius is the sign of masses. 6th house is the sign of people who are subordinate, who are working below you, or those people who work with you. So trusting somebody too much may be fraught with danger, may be fraught with challenges, also with maybe fraught with high risks. So one relationship through this connection may mislead you, may cheat you, may also frustrate you so much that you will find it very difficult to handle. But at the same time, Rahu plays in Aquarius, but the Aquarius ruler, Saturn, has gone into the 7th house in the sign of Pisces, which means with respect to relationship, you may be over optimistic and get into a relationship hoping the relationship to be very good, but that relationship may be fraught with danger because here Rahu is playing its effect on the 7th house, because the Rahu's ruler, the sign ruler of Rahu, Aquarius, Saturn, has gone into the 7th house in the sign of Pisces, which is a sign of optimism, high optimism. So high optimistically getting into a relationship, getting into a partnership, getting into a team, getting into an acquaintance, assuming everything will be hunky-dory, everything will be good, everything will be right. But at the same time, the ruler of the Pisces sign, where Saturn is placed and which Jupiter rules, where is Jupiter? Jupiter is in the 10th house, but in the sign of Gemini. It's a dual sign, which may sometimes make you think this way, sometimes think that way, and Rahu's aspect on it. So Rahu will mislead you into taking decisions connected to your career, connected to your relations. Why relations? Because Jupiter rules the 7th house and placed in the 10th house. So in your connections at work, you may trust somebody and that relationship or that connection may not be the most appropriate. So be very careful, especially with respect to your profession. Getting in relationship with somebody connected to your profession will be fraught with very high risk, fraught with danger. So one connection will surely disappoint you. Now Jupiter also aspecting Rahu back. So Jupiter is asking you to temper, slow down, think hard and take wise decisions connected to your career, connected to your how you're dealing with superiors, connected to authority figures, connected to partnership, connected to relationship. relationship also. So Jupiter is asking you to temper, but Rahu is pushing you to take those decisions. Now this is even more important because both Rahu and Jupiter are aspecting the Libra sign. Libra sign is the sign of relationship in the second house. The second house is also a community. So being misled into taking a decision outside of your community and then facing the consequences later. So whichever community you are in right now, you may take a decision against the community, against the social gradient. Take a decision and connect it to relationship, which means getting into a relationship with somebody outside of your community, outside of what your faith and belief is right now, and taking a wrong decision there. Secondly, Jupiter also aspecting the sign of relationship in the second house, but from the 10th house, which means in your career, through your career, you may be able to, if you temper it well, you may be able to make high gain. You may be able to make good remuneration. You may be able to get a better livelihood. You may be able to save more money. So Rahu from the 6th house of service aspecting the second house of money, and in the sign of relationship Libra, and Jupiter also aspecting, which means if you are able to handle your relationship very well, if you are able to trust the right people, if you are able to use wise decision making, and if you are able to see through those people who are acting behind your back and able to trust the right people, then your career is safe, your reputation is safe, your money is safe. Your ability to keep peace and tranquility is also safe because Jupiter rules the 4th house, the house of domestic life, your peace, your tranquility, your happiness, and under the aspect of Rahu. So on the whole, Rahu will be itching for things to happen this year. Something should happen, something here should happen, something in your career should happen, something in your investment should happen, something in your money should happen, something in your connections should happen. So through the itching that Rahu gives you, you may take a decision which may be fraught with danger, which may be fraught with high risk. So be very, very careful. Rahu will push the limits of your finances, of your relationship, of your career, of wanting more acknowledgement out of it. And Rahu will make you take eccentric decision making also, crazy decision making also. Rahu will devour you with this high energy, especially getting into the Aquarius sign. So depending on what is the dignity of Rahu, Saturn and Jupiter in your natal chart, results will come by accordingly for you.
Now let's cover the transit of Rahu into the sign of Aquarius for a Libra rising sign person, where Rahu would be transiting into your 5th house.
Now for those people who are born in the Libra rising sign, this is a very, very important transit for Libra rising sign people. Firstly, Rahu getting into the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of masses, mass connections, mass relationship. Libra is also the sign of relationship, and Rahu is aspecting with the 9th aspect the Lagna in the sign of Libra. Jupiter is also aspecting the sign of Libra from the 9th house. 9th house is the natural house of Jupiter. Jupiter is powerful here. But Jupiter is under the aspect of Rahu, mutual aspect of Rahu. This is very complicated. Rahu in Aquarius. Where is Aquarius ruler? Saturn. Saturn is in the sign of Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. Where is the ruler of Pisces sign? Jupiter. 9th house in Gemini sign, dual sign. A sign of sometime which will make you take a decision this side, sometime take a decision that side. Communication is also affected. Rahu getting into Aquarius and aspecting Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, forcing you to be extra creative in your communication, extra innovative in your communication, for gains, bordering on the lies, bordering on alternate facts, bordering on fudging of data also. So sometimes Rahu may push you to take decisions which may not be best for you, not be best for your team, not be best for your department, may not be best for your organization also. So be very careful. Rahu in the sign of Aquarius in the 5th house. The 5th house is the house of romantic liaison. Why romantic liaison becomes more important? Because Rahu's aspect, the 9th aspect of gains, is on the Libra sign in the Lagna, which means through your romantic liaison, you want high gains, and you are assuming that the connection will give you high stature, high standing in society, high respect, high dignity. So assuming that either the person itself is of high stature, sophisticated, likes you, wants to be with you, or you thinking that you are gaining out of the relationship is fraught with risk, is fraught with danger. So be a little careful of what relationships you get into, what kind of speculative investments that you do, what kind of career changes that you do, because Rahu is in the 5th house, in the sign of Aquarius, the sign of masses, and the 5th house is the 8th to the 10th house. So be very careful of how you take these decisions. On the other side, Jupiter also aspecting Libra in the Lagna, which means Jupiter is helping or trying to temper how much Rahu is pushing. Rahu is pushing to get more gains out of relationship, out of acquaintances, out of connection. Jupiter is saying, hang on, wait. Don't rush into things. Don't rush into relations. Don't rush into an opportunity just because the opportunity seems to be good on the surface. It may not be so. So this is really a complicated transit. It is not an easy transit. This is a high, very tough energy. Rahu's energy is going to be very tough for you to handle. So be very careful of how you take decisions throughout these 18 months. Rahu's aspect on Jupiter will expand communications for you to be ultra creative, bordering on the alternative facts or even innovative facts. But Rahu's aspect on Libra will also create the need for a payback or reciprocate attention also, all wanting to profit from your relations connections. Rahu will be itching for things to happen, connected to 5th house, connected to gains, connected to career also. And Rahu will push you to the limits of your finance, of your relations, of your career, and wanting high acknowledgement, wanting high reciprocation in your romantic liaison also. If you like somebody, you want them to reciprocate. And Rahu will border on the eccentric decision making, crazy decision making, devouring the effect of wanting everything at the same time, wanting everything yesterday. So on the whole, this is going to be a real tough transit for Libra rising sign people. But depending on the dignity of Rahu, Saturn, Jupiter in your natal chart, those will play out also. So on the whole, while this is surely a transit of high gains, high opportunities, high decision making also, but this is fraught with challenging decision making, challenging opportunities coming for you, and a chance of having either high gains or also being highly misled.
Let's cover Rahu transiting into the sign of Aquarius for a Scorpio rising sign person, where Rahu would be transiting into your 4th house.
Now, for those people who are born in the Scorpio rising sign people, for Scorpio rising sign people, this is going to be a really, really complicated transit, one of the most complicated transits for Scorpio rising sign people. The reason being is Rahu is getting into the sign of Aquarius, the sign of masses, and in the 4th house. The 4th house is the house of mental peace, your tranquility, your satisfaction, your domestic life, your investments, your conveniences. So Rahu getting there will give you high activation, high motivation, high ambition, high hunger, high greed, to wanting to get the most out of your domestic life from your investments. You wanting peace and tranquility, but Rahu not allowing you peace, happiness, satisfaction, and a stable connection. Rahu pushing you, wanting more out of everything, every connection, every relation, every acquaintances. And why this becomes very challenging? Because while Rahu is in the sign of Aquarius, where is the ruler of Aquarius? The ruler of Aquarius, Saturn, is in the 5th house, in the sign of Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter, which is under mutual aspect of Rahu. So you see why this becomes very complicated. Rahu co-rules Aquarius with Saturn, Rahu getting into Aquarius, Aquarius ruler Saturn getting into Pisces, the sign of high optimism. Highly optimistic results will come to you, or you assuming highly good results will come to you, and you getting into decision making with high optimism, not thinking hard. But at the same time, Pisces ruler Jupiter under mutual aspect of Rahu, and both Rahu and Jupiter also aspecting Libra sign in the 12th house. The 12th house is waste and excess and expenses, and this is the Dusthana, but the 12th house also has Jupiter energies, and Jupiter is aspecting the 12th house with his 5th aspect. So this is a really complicated transit. This is not an easy transit, and hence it's important that you also see my Jupiter video, Jupiter's transit into Gemini video from 3 perspectives, Saturn's transit into Pisces sign, also 3 videos I've made on them, and now I'm making Rahu, so that if you understand those very well, then combined effect you will be able to understand if you see this video thoroughly and understand all the overall transits of all the 3 happening. That's why it's important that you be able to see how complicated this is becoming with everything being activated. Rahu is getting activated anyways because it is getting into Aquarius sign, which it co-rules with Saturn. Saturn in Pisces, Pisces sign ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter and Rahu in mutual aspect, both of them aspecting the 12th house. It can't be more complicated than this. And if you see Rahu's aspect on Jupiter's on the 8th house, the 8th house is tribulation, challenges, problems, issues, suddenness. So sudden issues coming at home, sudden issues coming in domestic life, sudden issues coming in your assets, sudden issues coming in your conveniences, sudden issues coming in your investments, sudden issues coming which spoil your peace, your tranquility, your stability. And Jupiter in the 8th house. Jupiter is expanding issues, problem, challenges of the 8th house. But Jupiter is also aspecting Rahu. Jupiter is asking you to temper, slow down, don't rush into dangers, don't rush into investment, don't rush into relations, don't rush into those things which you may assume that will give you happiness, will give you great success or great material gains, but it may not be the case. And because both of them are aspecting Libra sign in the 12th house, which means you may assume one connection to be very good, because Aquarius sign is the sign of network connection, Libra sign is the sign of strong connections, more intimate connections, close connections, strong social connection. So your strong social connections in the 12th house of waste and excess is getting activated. So wrongly taking a decision, wrongly getting connected with people which may be leading you to losses. Jupiter is tempering that with its 5th aspect, but Rahu is also aspecting it. But Rahu is aspecting it from the 4th house, which is your mental peace. So getting into a relationship without taking a wise decision may lead you to spoil your mental peace over the 18 months. So this is an extremely complicated transit. It's not an easy transit to handle. The energy is overwhelming for Scorpio sign people. Scorpio is the sign of transformation, the sign of change. That's why it's not going to be easy, and that's why I'm pushing out putting so much attention to you or through this video, so that you understand and you are calm through these 18 months while you understand the other transits of Jupiter and Saturn. So now, on the whole, depending on the dignity of Rahu, Saturn and Jupiter in your natal chart, those effects will also play out. But this is surely a transit of high opportunity coming in, high gains coming in, high decision making coming in, really being able to rise to the top, huge transformation coming your way, but also fraught with strong risks. Rahu will push you to the limits, almost eccentric decision making. Rahu will itch you, or will itch you to be able to get into certain connection, into certain decision making, which will be making things happen. But it may not be the case. Rahu will push you to the limits of finances, of relations, of career and acknowledgement, bordering on eccentric decision making, and that's why you need to be careful for Scorpio rising sign people.
Now let's cover Rahu's transit into the sign of Aquarius for a Sagittarius rising sign person, where Rahu would be transiting into your 3rd house.
Now, for those people who are born in the Sagittarius rising sign, now this Sagittarius rising sign people, for them the transit of Rahu into Aquarius is really a tricky one, really complicated one. For once, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Where is Jupiter placed? In a house opposite to the Lagna, in the Gemini sign, which is a dual sign. Dual sign, which means sometimes taking a decision this side or taking a decision that side. However, while Jupiter is placed in Gemini sign, Rahu getting into the Aquarius sign, which it co-rules with Saturn. But where is the other ruler of Aquarius, the main ruler of Aquarius? Saturn is in the sign of Pisces, in the sign ruled by Jupiter, which is the Lagna Lord. And where is the Lagna Lord placed? In Gemini under mutual aspect of Rahu. Both are mutually aspecting each other. And both of them are also aspecting the sign of Libra, the sign of relationship. Where Jupiter's place in the 7th house, the house of relations, connections, acquaintances, teamwork, and aspecting the 11th house of masses, but in the sign of Libra, the sign of relationship, and both of them, Rahu and Jupiter aspecting it. This is going to be a real complicated one. This is not an easy transit for you to handle. So for Sagittarius rising sign people, when Rahu will be in Aquarius, it will be mutually aspecting Jupiter. Now Rahu in the 3rd house means high effort, or you wanting high greed and high hunger for the results of the 3rd house. So any effort you want, you put in, you want gains, you want results. You may try a different communication, very creative communication, bordering on certain things which may be alternate facts, which may not be true completely, but you may want to be very innovative, you may be wanting to be very creative, so be very careful. There is a chance people may call out your bluff, may call out that this is not right, may call out your creativity. You may think that you are doing the right thing, it may not be the best thing for you to do, especially because Rahu is aspecting the Gemini sign, the sign of communication, the dual sign. Jupiter placed there is trying to temper it, because Jupiter is also aspecting a Rahu in the 3rd house, asking you to slow down, to temper the result, don't push too hard. But at the same time, both of them aspecting the Libra sign in the 11th house is creating enough of push in the social connection where you are wanting to get gains out of. So one relationship is surely going to frustrate you. One relationship is really going to test you, put you to the limits of testing, even on the borderline of you being cheated in the relationship. So be very, very careful. Why relationship is of the essence? Because the Lagna Lord Jupiter is in the 7th house of relationship, aspecting the sign of Libra, relationship in the 11th house. So mass adulation may come, mass attention may come, but mass dissatisfaction may also come, where you do something where you're embarrassed in society, embarrassed in masses also, and that's why you need to be very ultra careful. Especially Saturn going into the sign of Pisces in the 4th house, which is giving you over optimism, rushing into a relationship with over optimism, rushing into a career decision with over optimism, rushing into an investment with over optimism, fraught with danger, fraught with risk, having the sign of dangerous, maybe risk taking, leading to even losses. So be very careful overall. So Rahu will be itching for things to happen these 18 months, will want you to take high risk. Rahu will push you to the limits of relation, of effort, wanting to do something on your own in the ambit of finances, relations, career. So be very, very careful what decision you do, because some of the decision you may take will be on the border of the eccentric. The crazy will devour the energy that Rahu possesses, devour your senses also. So overall, for Sagittarius rising sign people, really very high opportunity for very high gains in your relations, in your connection, through your effort, through your communication, through your creativity, but also fraught with danger, fraught with risk if you're not keeping wise counsel and taking sane decision making.
Now let's cover the transit of Rahu into the sign of Aquarius for a Capricorn sign, rising sign person, where Rahu would be transiting into your 2nd house.
Now for Capricorn rising sign people, this is going to be really tough transit, very complicated transit. Why very complicated? The ruler of Capricorn, Saturn, is in the 3rd house, but in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter itself is in the 6th house. 6th house is the house of enemies, people acting behind your back, people who are not wanting the best for you. And Saturn is in the sign of Pisces, high optimism. So Saturn is going to give you high optimism, and Saturn's rulership of Aquarius, so Rahu gets in, which means Rahu will give you high optimism in your effort to take decisions, in terms of your own effort, own relation, own connections, own self-effort, without thinking too much, with high hunger, with high greed, to take those decisions, only to know that you have to do it again. Saturn in the 3rd house. Keep flogging at it, keep slogging at it, keep doing. assuming now, today, tomorrow, next week, in a month, you will get results, you will get some gains out of it, and that may be stagnated if the right decision is not taken, especially with Rahu in the sign of Aquarius in the second house of money, of community, of your values. So values you may push too hard for money, for gains, not thinking that these are fraught with danger, to be called out, to be embarrassed, to be caught, to be scandalized for money. So be very careful, especially because Jupiter has gone into the sign of Gemini, duality. Should I do this, should I do that? And in the sixth house of people acting behind your back. Saving graces, Jupiter was also aspecting Rahu back, trying to temper the results, saying hang on, don't rush into dangers just for money. Don't rush into decision making just because you think the role is very good. Don't rush into a decision with respect to career. Why career? Both Rahu and Jupiter are aspecting the Libra sign in the 10th house. Libra sign is a sign of relationships, connections. So through a connection, you may feel, okay, my relationship with my superior will help me get better recognized, get me better acknowledged, get me growth. But that may not happen. At the most, you may get a good increment, but the growth may not come to you. The higher acknowledgement may not come to you. Jupiter will expand the relationship, surely will get you connected to new people, may also get you connected to somebody who may give a fillip to your career, help you get a new role, get a new opportunity, but that is for you to be able to identify wisely rather than with hunger and greed, because then through that connection, your career may be impacted big time, where somebody is suggesting you take a decision, but that decision may not be the best for you, because that decision may be fraught with over optimism, but may not be the best for you. So Rahu will push you to the limits of wanting money, of your community, of wanting better livelihood, and getting more out of your acquaintances, getting more out of your subordinates, who in turn may not support you enough. And so Rahu will push you to the limits of finances, of relationship, connections and career, only fraught with high risk. If it gets good, very well and good. You will rush to the top, it will give you high feeling. If not, then you may get into debts, you may get into challenges in your career, you may get into problems with superiors at work, because of which your livelihood and money in the bank and your savings may also get affected. So Rahu will make you border on the eccentric decision making, the crazy decision making, devouring the energy that you possess of motivation enough that you will want everything else of yesterday. So for Capricorn rising sign people, Saturn ruling it, getting into Pisces, high optimism, Rahu getting into the sign of Aquarius is not going to be an easy energy. Now, depending on the dignity of Rahu, Saturn and Jupiter in your natal chart, the results will come by accordingly. So overall for Capricorn rising sign people, especially Jupiter also gets debilitated in Capricorn sign and the sign of karma. If you play your cards very well, if you take sane decision making, and if you are able to temper your hunger and greed, then great results will surely come by for Capricorn rising sign people.
Now let's cover Rahu transiting into the sign of Aquarius for a Aquarius rising sign person, where Rahu would be transiting into your Lagna, into your first house.
Now for those people who are born in the Aquarius rising sign people, this is, if there is one rising sign which will face the most challenging time, but the most opportune time, the best time for highest gain, highest fillip, highest rise, then it is Aquarius rising sign people. But Rahu getting into the Aquarius rising sign, which means there will be an opportunity of very high gains, but fraught with high greed, high motivation, high hunger for stature, for dignity, for standing in society. I want everything. I want it as of yesterday. That will be the energy. And this is a most complicated and very, very, very tough transit, because where is the ruler of Aquarius? The ruler of Aquarius, Saturn, is placed in the second house in Pisces sign. Pisces sign is the sign of high optimism. So the Lagna Lord, which is also the ruler of the 12th house, is gone into the sign of Pisces, the sign of high optimism, while Rahu is in the Lagna, in the Mool Trikona sign of Saturn, which means Rahu is going to give you high hunger and greed, even mislead you into taking over optimistic decisions connected to money, connected to your livelihood, connected to your earning, connected to your saving in the bank. And because of that, this will be very risky. And Where is the ruler of Pisces? Jupiter is placed in the 5th house. Jupiter is placed strong in the 5th house, but it is in the sign of Gemini. It's a dual sign. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I move here? Should I move there? Should I move toward this person? Should I move toward that person? Why person? Because it is the 5th house, the house of relationships, connections, romantic liaison also. But it becomes more important where relationships are concerned, because Jupiter and Rahu both are aspecting Libra sign in the 9th house. So gains is the 9th house. Libra sign is the sign of relationships, connection. So Jupiter is expanding, wanting gains out of your relationship. Rahu is giving you high hunger and greed to extract more out of your relationship. High gains, because Rahu's 9th aspect is on the Libra sign in the 9th house. So you want the most out of your relationship. You want every ounce of gains extracted out of them, and Jupiter is also giving you the feeling, especially with Rahu in the Lagna, and Saturn is in over optimism mood. So this is going to be a really tough energy to crack, tough transit to handle. So Rahu will make you, push you to the limits of finances, of relations, of career, of wanting acknowledgement in your social connection, wanting high stature, wanting high growth this year in these immediately. So be very careful of what kind of decision that you take. New opportunities will surely come by for you. Some opportunities may be excellent, some opportunities may be misleading. If you take an opportunity which is not the best for you, then you will stagnate for the next 18 months. You will not be having the peace of mind over the next 18 months. So this is fraught with danger, which is fraught with high risk also. So Rahu will push you to the limits of finances, of hunger and greed, and wanting the most out of wanting the quick rise, best acknowledgement, and it will border you on the taking eccentric decision making, devour all your energy for sane decision making, and mislead you in a different direction. So be very careful of what kind of decision that you make, especially for Aries, Aquarius rising sign people. This is surely a time for high gains, high opportunity. The best time for any sign for Aquarius people to really rise to the top through your social connection, to get mass adulation, mass success, but fraught with risk, fraught with danger.
Now let's cover Rahu transiting into the sign of Aquarius for a Pisces rising sign person, where Rahu would be transiting into your 12th house.
Now for those people who are born in the Pisces rising sign, now for Pisces rising sign people, this is going to be a really tough transit. This is going to be a very complicated transit. Why? Because the ruler of Pisces, which is Jupiter, is gone into the 4th house and Gemini sign, a dual sign. Should I do this? Should I do that? Always being in dual mindedness, and under the aspect of Rahu from the 12th house. The 12th house has Jupiter's rulership. So Rahu is doubly impacting Jupiter, gone into the 12th house with Jupiter rules in the Kalpurush Kundli, and aspecting Jupiter with his 5th aspect. So Rahu from the 12th house is aspecting Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, giving higher hunger and greed to decision making, to your communication, to your creativity, to your innovation, such that you will want to be over innovative in your communication, over creative in your communication, bordering on lies, bordering on alternate fact also, just to make high gains. Because Rahu is in the 12th house, which may be fraught with danger, because the 12th house is also waste and excess. Some decision making may go south, because of which we end up in losses, bigger losses, especially losses because Rahu is in the sign of Aquarius. But where is Aquarius ruler? Aquarius ruler Saturn is in the sign of Pisces. So over optimism in the Lagna, which means in everything, over optimism in health, over optimism in career, over optimism in relation, over optimism in investments, over optimism in getting into new acquaintances, into new partnership also. Especially partnership and acquaintances, because both Rahu and Jupiter are aspecting the Libra sign, the sign of relationship in the 8th house. Sudden challenges, but sudden opportunities in relationship, sudden issues, sudden stagnation because of getting into a wrong relationship, because of getting into a wrong social connection, because of getting into wrong acquaintance because of suddenness which is coming in, hidden associations coming in, or on the surface you're thinking that this is going to be high gains. Mind you, The 7th, the 8th house is also the house of sudden gains out of the blue. So Rahu is expecting that if I take this decision, I'll get high gains. High optimism because of Saturn being in the Lagna, but in the sign of Pisces. But Jupiter's aspect on the Libra sign as well as on Rahu, Jupiter is trying to temper you, trying to hold you back, saying don't rush into decision making, don't rush into a relationship, don't rush into acquaintances, don't rush into connections which may be fraught with danger, fraught with high risk. So Rahu will make you push to the limits of finances, of relations, of career, of acknowledgement. Rahu will make you border on the eccentric decision making, crazy decision making also, wanting to devour everything in its path to be able to make high gains, but fraught with danger and risk because Rahu is in the 12th of waste and excess. All your effort may go to waste and excess through high optimism that Saturn is going to give you while being in the Lagna. And the Lagna Lord, Jupiter, is in a Gemini sign, in a dual sign, under the aspect of Rahu. So, overall, while for Pisces sign people, this is a great opportunity for getting high gains, high acknowledgement, high new opportunities which may take you to the top, and with stable results because Saturn is in the Lagna through your optimism. But through your over optimism and Rahu being in the Aquarius sign, it is fraught with danger because wrong decision making may mislead you into getting into a tangent where you get stuck up for the next 18 months rather than being able to make high gains.
So friends, now that we have seen how Rahu transiting into different houses for different rising sign people, where Rahu transits into the sign of Aquarius, let's see where Rahu is placed into your natal chart, in which house it is, in which sign it is, and which doshas or which yogas it is, because that will also bring in its own flavor. So friends, please like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. And until some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.